Okay. Hi, everyone. It's me again, Ali Dunbar, and I'm spotlighting solopreneurs from the Asian diaspora. Asian Wonder Woman is a community for Asian women who love business and travel. In this series, we'll be featuring solopreneurs like Jen from Asian Wonder Woman, sharing how they kickstarted their business and lessons they wanted to share with the broader community. So today, Jen, who is a somatic mindfulness coach and holistic wellness expert, guiding her clients through her one-on-one coming home program, is joining me. But before we dive in, Jen, would you tell me a little bit more about yourself and your business, I Am Home Holistic Wellness?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for having me. I'm just so excited for this conversation and to just see what's going to come out of this. But yeah, so to introduce myself, my name is Jen. I'm a somatic mindfulness coach, master hypnotist, doctor of physical therapy, holistic body worker, and the host of the Coming Home podcast. And essentially, with my business, I Am Home Holistic Wellness. It's all about helping people individually and also in group settings to shift the focus from the external world back to the internal. It's all about coming back home to yourself, loving yourself as we are, as we tap into really seeing ourselves, hearing ourselves, and loving ourselves just as we are as we come back to internal validation. And so the work that I do revolves around helping so many different types of people really step into the empowered version of self, the version of self that knows who they are. They're grounded in who they are, and they're able to start taking the steps towards their authentic dreams, their heart-centered dreams. And this is all about like my whole life essentially. And so yeah, that's a little bit about, the type of work or, the intention behind I'm Home Holistic Wellness.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. I love how you said it's an internal reflection and really digging into what is authenticity for us and
Yeah.
what we really do center in our lives to ensure that we're aligned. Uh, for, I guess, how did you get into mindfulness coaching?
Yeah.
What were you doing before?
Right. No, that's a great question. So actually, before I was doing this whole, holistic wellness, I was doing physical therapy and I was in grad school right before then also. And so, that's kind of where my whole journey started, when I was experiencing burnout in as a physical therapist. And also, when I was going through my rock bottom for the first time 7 years ago, actually, in graduate school when I was striving and striving to essentially be someone or to be enough or to, make it in school, to be quite honest. It was really difficult during that time. And so, that whole journey of experiencing anxiety, overwhelm, panic attacks, and all of these beautiful, things essentially led me back home to myself. And that's what led me into hypnotherapy, mindfulness, going to different retreats, exploring different monasteries. And at one point, I almost became a Buddhist nun. Yes, I was there for 3 months and then it decided, okay, let me go back to the external world.
Yeah,
And
yeah, where were you practicing Buddhism?
oh, yeah. Great question. So the first place was actually in California. There's like multiple centers that I went to, and one was in Jenner. And it's called Dhamma Monastery. That was where I was practicing for about 3 months in retreat. And some other spaces is Vipassana Meditation Center, and that is pretty much all over the world. But the first place I went to was actually in North Fork, and my other center was in Korea. That was my other, base where I went to a lot as well. But yeah, pretty much in Thailand, Korea, California. Hmm.
That sounds like a very interesting journey.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I would have never imagined this, growing up. The like perfect Asian student or, perfect daughter type of, way of being. So, then I went off into my own path and decided, and I love what you said earlier also. It's like, what is authentic to you? What feels authentic to you? And can we step into that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your background before going into graduate school
Oh,
for
very right.
therapy?
Yeah.
You get your undergrad in
Mhm.
more of the hard sciences?
Right. You would think so, but no.
Oh, okay. Another curveball. I love it.
Yeah, no, I exactly no, it's hilarious. But like I was a biological sciences major, so I was like very sciencey. So like what I'm doing now is like totally like opposite, like more feminine and flowy energy and being and allowing. Whereas like before, how I was, it was mainly tapping into the energy of doing and like, more science-based. I actually didn't really believe I was creative back in the day. And I didn't really tap into that. And I was simply, doing what I needed to do in order to get A's, in order to get into graduate school, and basically the normal expected path my Asian parents wanted me to go on, and I did go on, sort of. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. On the topic of Asian parents, how was your family in this pivot?
Yeah, no. It was actually quite difficult, not 100% super difficult because I was abroad in Asia,
Mhm.
but after I decided to leave my 9 to 5 and never work a 40-hour like regular type of job in physical therapy, then I decided to live out my dream that I haven't done for 10 years. I actually went to graduate school for my parents. I decided out of my own expectation and, believing that this is the right path to do. And whereas what I actually wanted to do was, travel the world, in Asia and like, teach English and just,
Yeah.
follow the flow. And so I decided to actually do that after I burnt out and went through a whole bunch of things within, my time period I worked. And so after that, I shifted into, nomading in Asia and exploring, that aspect of self along with entrepreneurship. And so quite honestly, my parents, especially when I was also thinking about becoming a Buddhist nun, were not happy. The Buddhist nun, that part was not, they were definitely not happy. But but yeah, I think my parents would rather have me, live a stable life, have a partner, have kids, and do the quote unquote normal
Right.
expected thing.
Yeah.
So I think my path has been one of embracing what I truly want, but also embracing their disappointment and embracing like the recognition that I'm not a failure, like the disappointment that they are experiencing that they feel is not who I am, but I try my best to acknowledge it and to recognize that I can still continue walking on my own path, finding the middle way, I guess, because I truly do care for my parents, but how can I find the middle way so I'm not self-sacrificing, doing the same self-sacrificing behaviors that I was taught.
Mm, uh, yeah,
Mhm.
definitely here just trying to balance expectations of
Yes.
what we were socialized with, but at the same time living genuinely and authentically for ourselves so that we can actually find happiness and hoping that the people we care about are able to maybe like you said, maybe at first they feel very challenged and confused about our decisions, but really
Right.
trusting our gut and sticking to it. So I think that's really commendable that you've been able to carve a very windy path for yourself.
Right.
I am curious because you mentioned how you didn't think you were creative, but then you found creativity. And I'm just curious how you accessed that for yourself.
Right. That's such a good question because the story the story of I'm not creative was so strong because I always looked at my sister and she was the one like, making things and drawing and I was like, oh. she is going to go down that path, but I am the one that is doing the science stuff and going down the normal path and doing what I should be doing. But I think it was honestly when I started to explore this new career, but also exploring hypnotherapy on my own. I had hypnotherapy sessions for the first time like around 7 years ago,
Okay.
and that opened a whole new realm for me. Yeah, it's so cool because like you're exploring your subconscious mind, you're using guided imagery and visualizing things, your dreams, and things are just naturally flowing within your mind too, either like through hearing or seeing. But it's like really amazing. And so I think that kind of, as I opened up to like, I guess more of my feminine energy of being like, because, we can just like, I can be in the doing. That's how I succeeded in the past. But as I started to tap more into balancing my energies, like the feminine energy and opening up to like being, creativity, and like just naturally flowed. And then I started to do like coaching sessions a while ago. And, I started to guide, this was before I had my hypnotherapy training, but I started to guide clients on inner journeys. And I was like, oh, wow, that was cool. It worked. And
Uh,
and it was just like it just kind of like I feel like the healing arts that I'm practicing is kind of like an art form, and so I feel like the more I am receiving and also giving, the more yeah, I am tapping into that creativity and that flow within the universe. So it's cool. It's amazing.
no, I love the idea about balancing and energies through different modes of imagery and just conversations. Um,
Yeah.
I do know that a lot of people who tune in are curious about how one moves into becoming an entrepreneur. So,
Yeah.
what was that journey of navigating your own business model for yourself? Was it a difficult one? Did you learn on the go? Were you taking classes? Was it a lot of like reaching out to friends?
All right, right, right. Yes, I will tell you guys. So, to be honest, in the beginning, I was so inspired by my sister because she also runs a jewelry business called Simple Dainty Jewelry. And so she's grown from a space of, first doing part-time and then slowly getting into, full time. And it just slowly started to build. And so I think she was the first one that really told me that, like, monetize your passions and like, you can create a business out of your like your own creative abilities. And yeah, and so it really just inspired me. So I was still in grad school thinking about a career shift while my professors were saying, just stick to this.
Mhm.
But yeah, and so in the beginning, when I started the journey, I had finished graduate school, I got my license, and I was also in Puerto Rico, kind of like nomading a bit as well there for about 4 months. And so that was when I started my entrepreneur journey. And to be honest, I really didn't understand and know anything about entrepreneurship. I just kind of just jumped up and went along. And so yeah, it was a whole learning process. And I think, there was a lot of masculine energy involved within that time also. And so I found myself having too much masculine energy and not enough like that feminine energy of being and receiving or taking care of my needs. And so for me, it's been a journey of honestly, it's been a coming home journey for me with this whole entrepreneur journey as well. Cause, I didn't really expect and see difficulties, which was also good because I kind of just got up and started running. And I started to just tell people I hired a business coach and I essentially just started to like I started to just go. and I along with her support also. And so I just message a lot of different people, mainly like my community, to ask about you know if they just letting them know that currently I'm doing coaching and if they're interested in a free session. And so that's how I started my journey in building my skills. So I did a lot of free sessions
Okay.
and yeah, essentially, yeah, spreading the word with word of mouth in the beginning.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
What's your business look like today in
Right.
from your first step of just spreading the word
Mhm,
and offering free sessions
mhm.
to what it is now?
Yeah, so from what it was then, that was several years ago, and then I took about a year break.
Okay.
So but currently the I so that was kind of a trial period. So the recent period is about 2 years of running the business consistently while I was nomading, and now I returned to California. So I think within that time period, there's a lot of like learnings, like you figure something out, like you get up, you fall down sometimes. It's this whole process. And it's honestly a beautiful inner journey that allows you to open up to dark aspects of yourself, but also beautiful things. And I'm learning how to open more into flow within business, flow within caring for my needs. But ultimately, the things that have really shifted is essentially, I feel so the external things is like now I'm creating community within different, within like, the places I'm at, but I'm also now creating global community via meetup.com. And so doing trainings and like free trainings right now also, and like mini retreats. And so I feel like during the time period, I developed different types of skills of guiding and leading in group setting, and also one-on-one setting with my coming home program. So it's all kind of like a process of learning different types of skill sets and staying consistent with what you're doing, but also navigating your how you feel, what's going on internally. And also not for me, it's been personally a journey of learning how to care for myself all along while I'm caring for others, tend to my needs, and don't forget about my own authenticity. So that's why recently now my lifestyle is more about integrating retreat lifestyle along with retreat lifestyle and Vipassana alongside with entrepreneurship. So it's like more of this flow and balance. Mhm.
Oh, that's so interesting. Is
Yeah.
there a certain demographic of clients that you usually see, or is it pretty wide ranging?
Yeah, it's pretty wide ranging right now. And I feel like that pretty much most of my clients are like people that have anxiety, overwhelm,
Mm.
people that, have immigrant, family, perhaps, people, for example, an Asian Wonder Woman have also reached out as well. People that have that striving mentality and maybe those parts of mind that, don't know how to calm down or relax and tap into the flow or the universal flow.
Mm.
Yeah. Mhm,
Okay, okay. That makes a lot of sense. You
mhm.
did bring up Asian Wonder Woman, and I
Yes.
was wondering, when did Asian Wonder Woman intersect with your life?
Right. Oh, and a side note, I also do chronic pain. That's a new thing that I'm doing right now too, an integrative and mindfulness approach to chronic pain. So that's up and coming. Well, actually, it's here already. So that's something else that I'm kind of exploring also,
Mm.
exploring chronic pain, not from like the typical like PT perspective, but from an integrative, holistic approach.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the question again that you asked?
Oh,
Wonder Woman.
Asian
Oh, right.
Wonder Woman, like
Yeah.
when you intersect with people, because you mentioned how some people in the community have reached out to you for your
Hey.
services too.
Yeah, no, honestly, I love Asian Wonder Woman. Like a lot of my friends are pretty much from Asian Wonder Woman right now, which makes me feel so like good.
Yeah.
Like had a lot of different trips. So I think the first time was probably online. It was like I remember I hosted a workshop in
Okay.
for Chiang Mai while I was there, but it was online, I believe. But yeah, maybe like in the beginning, so maybe about 2 years ago, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's so interesting.
Okay. Did you first connect with Emily, or were you sort of just in Asia, digital nomading, looking for community and connection? That's how I found Asian Wonder Woman. I was just in Asia, sort of looking for community.
Amazing. Yeah, So I think a friend recommended it to me, and then I just started to, go there, and I was looking for friends and community also.
Mhm.
And so that's how it all started. And then later on, there was like a conference also in Taiwan. And so I went there and I met a whole bunch of people, and it was really fun. And later on, we did part two in Vegas with some of the people I met in Asian Wonder Woman. And then we added more people to the crew. There was like another mini conference.
Okay. Okay. That's
Yeah.
amazing that you've been able to form such formative relationships in just thinking about community. And it sort of um, makes me reflect on what you initially said about how you started your business. It was relying on your community. And I always think about how there's a quote I read somewhere. I don't know who it's from, but they always say that community is the backbone of resilience. And I think about it a lot when I navigate different spaces.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, thanks for sharing. I definitely resonate with that too. Community is, the backbone because it's like we have ourselves and there's like coming home to ourselves, loving ourselves as we are. But I also feel like what is really important is having those communities that see you, that love you, that support you, and that understand what you're going through, especially as entrepreneurs. It can be quite isolating if you're surrounded by people that are not really in that space. And so Asian Wonder Woman was really helpful in helping me create those connections with other people that are also like-minded and, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess going back to the different forms of mindfulness and holistic
Yeah.
support that you offer to people, how do you discern, or I guess do people already approach you knowing what they would like in terms of hypnotherapy? Or you said that you're
Right.
now
So my,
starting
uh-huh.
chronic for
Right.
pain? Is it just a consultation session and then you help guide them and you're like, oh, you might want to do more somatic and etc.
Right. So typically, so let me give you a little intro or background about all the different things I do because
Yeah,
it's a
okay.
lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like the hypnotherapy, which ultimately helps people tap into the subconscious mind to, so it's like altered states of consciousness that helps them, create and change limiting beliefs and step into more positive beliefs about themselves or the external world. It's also a really powerful tool to kind of tune into your intuition and to tap into your needs and wants and where you want your life to go even. And but yeah, it's also a really great tool to stay present and be. And so there's the hypnotherapy, there's somatic experiencing, which is a form of trauma healing. And it's a little bit different than talk therapy or regular coaching because we're essentially talking a bit about the trauma or about whatever has happened, but then we're also tapping back into the body to essentially help process some of those sensations, help move through some of those sensations through shifting the focus also into accessing what is safe, what feels okay, what feels connective right now. And so there's a lot of power in shifting into safety. And so, and then there's also like movement and mindfulness and meditation as well, which most people are familiar with that. But ultimately, with my practice, I essentially integrate all of them together. And so, anybody, all of them together, and sometimes I do it separately, but it's pretty much meshed together, which is really amazing and unique. But yeah, so for people that are, interested in interested in like learning more about regulating their emotions, they're typically people that are overwhelmed, anxious, maybe unsure of themselves, maybe shaky sense of self, or maybe they're going through chronic pain or illness. And so, like, doing a consultation, which is absolutely free, is essentially a great, great opportunity if the person is ready to create the changes. I think that's the very first thing. Like, are you ready to step into creating changes within your life and open up to, regulating the nervous system? And then in the consultation call, we essentially go through like, the work that I do, and it's an opportunity for them to also learn a little bit more about, who I am, and also they'll get to learn a little bit more about who they are as they're sharing authentically, and expressing what their difficulties, what's working, what's not, and yeah, and to see if we can essentially come to a space where we can step into loving themselves as they are. Mm.
Yeah, I love the idea of loving yourself as who you are and stepping into a space um, as authentically as possible. But I think just a through line of what you've said is we as humans, we have to be in a space to want to create the change
Yes.
before you even receive it, it seems like, in terms of being able to regulate um, our body, our emotions, our mind, and find ways to keep us grounded.
Yes, absolutely. And that was exactly because, like, before my 7-year journey of this whole healing journey, I was definitely not interested in self-care. Not at all. And it took a certain moment, a certain divine time to actually open up to wanting that change. Yeah.
Mm, yeah, I still remember when my first experience with self-care or
Yeah.
any change, I thought it was sort of like physical therapy in terms of you have 3 months and you know that your ankle will be healed from a sprain or something. But
Yeah.
something that's so deeply entrenched with how we've been socialized and our behaviors in an environment takes a lot longer. And it's definitely we definitely have to be open to receiving it and being willing to do the work for the long haul.
Yes. No, I love how you just said that. No, absolutely. What you just said is like gold. What you just said is so
I
gold.
appreciate it. Oh, that's so nice of you to say.
No, 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 it really is because, like, I feel like with coming home and the whole journey and like program, it's definitely like shifting and changing like how you think, shifting yourself from, following conditioned patterns that were like, that were conditioned from since we were born.
Mhm.
And, it's like a lifelong type of commitment to step into what is it that we truly want within ourselves, or step into like shifting the reactive patterns of the mind into more calm, more ease as we let go of reactivity or the stressors in life.
Yeah,
Yes.
yep. All of that really resonates. I know that we are almost at time. I always ask people this. It's a
Yeah.
fun question.
Yeah.
Um, to close it out, if you could have a superpower that would make your entrepreneur life easier, what would it be and how would you use it?
Oh. I love this. So when I'm closing my eyes, what I'm actually envisioning is mm, just me living in a retreat center. So it's not like my Vipassana retreat center, but me living in a retreat center, maybe next to the ocean, where I'm like living a mindful life, but also teaching. So kind of blending both like outer world of entrepreneurship, and also kind of like this other world, like sort of like monastery life or retreat life, and blending it together. So yeah, I feel like that would be what if I could wave a little magic wand, I feel like that is like the lifestyle that I would like.
Yeah, no, that sounds absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, we are at time, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for sharing all your insights in how to approach our lives more holistically and the importance of just having those avenues and those options to explore because I don't think they're always that apparent and it's definitely not built in with our education systems all the time. And
Absolutely.
um in just our own knowledges. But for those tuning in, if you're interested in learning more about the Asian Wonder Woman Business Collective, you can sign up on our website at asianwonderwoman.com. We have an ongoing application process and we welcome women from all over the world to partake in our business community. This is a private group and it has monthly masterminds, remote working sessions, networking, and access to exclusive events. But
Amazing.
thank you so much, Jenn.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much, Ali. It was so great to meet and to chat. And yeah, I'm just excited also about, what is to come within, Asian Wander Women Business Collective. It's new, but it's been so amazing to be a part of the community and also meet other like-minded
Mhm.
individuals too. So I love the community building and how we can really create connections within this space. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll see everyone in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.